This Friday, January 31st, NBA Betting Picks edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Final day of the month of January 31st. Nice schedule of games here on the NBA docket. We'll get into each and every game here, of course. I'll give you our lock and dog, and of course, an Underdog Fantasy entry as well for the Friday schedule. But joining me here, of course, on this episode to help me break everything down in the association, you guys know him as the voice of the Tennis Gambling Podcast, WNBA, MLB, and of course here on the NBA Gambling Podcast, it's Scott to your Reichel. Scott, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
Yeah, nothing much. Games yesterday were pretty horrible as a whole. You had one really good game on TV, though, with the Rockets and Grizzlies, which, unfortunately for you, Van Vliet tried to take over the game late. But either way, point is that you had 5 games yesterday, and 4 of them were decided by 22-plus points. So not exactly the best day. If you like blowouts, then it's perfect for you. But not a lot of talk about the action, though. There were some storylines that happened in the NBA outside of the games. You had the All-Star voting. It's a culmination. Even though, of course, you're going to get a couple guys who fill in for injuries. That happens every year. But the point is, you had some injury news. You had some All-Star news, and you had the Rozier situation, which ended up happening too yesterday. So I don't know if you want to dive into either of them or no, because we have a lot of games, but couple of interesting storylines to talk about from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it always comes out every single year about, the all-star snubs, but you also have the conversation. And I mean, this would probably turn into a 30, 45-minute conversation on, guys that got snubbed, but also, who do you replace those guys with, right? And I think more notably in the Eastern Conference, guys like the Tyrese Maxeys of the world, Trae Young, who else was left off? LaMelo Ball was left off. And then Sabonis in the Western Conference, Kyrie. You can make the argument for Fox. You could throw into that conversation.
I feel bad for Sabonis. I'll put it that way, because it's 2 straight years where I feel like he had a serious argument to get in. The Trae one's tricky because people go, well, he should be, because he's leading the league in assists. But you factor in how many good guards there are in the Eastern Conference and the fact that LaMelo and Trae in this case have very bad efficiency numbers, and I feel like that should matter. Now, the counterpoint, though, for LaMelo, which makes it kind of weird, is that he was number 1 in the fan vote, and I roasted that conceptually because I don't think LaMelo should be viewed that highly amongst fans. But fans like him because of either the family, the big baller brand, or even just the fact that he's entertaining to watch. Number 1 in fan voting, and the coaches single-handedly kept him out of the actual rosters, I find pretty funny. But it was a good day for me. I mean, considering the fact that I've roasted Trae and LaMelo on this podcast for years, apparently coaches and I see eye to eye about LaMelo and Trae. So there we go. But I find it kind of weird for LaMelo's case. The fans basically voted him in because they wanted to see him. And the coaches were like, are you kidding me? I don't want to coach this. I don't want to watch this guy play an exhibition game. No, we're good. Like, they just tossed them aside. I found that kind of funny.
Yeah, I think obviously the format changes this year for the All-Star game. I think it's 4 teams now that will be coached / GM'd by the NBA, the TNT guys, with Chuck Kinney. I think Ernie's part of it as well, and then Shaq as well. So I know 3 of the 4 for sure. But yeah, look, it's a conversation, but I think and so I know that it's the league leaders in assists per game in Trae and Sabonis. I think Sabonis definitely deserves to get in, but he's just gets overshadowed, I guess, for whatever the other bigs in the Western Conference for whatever reason. But we'll What else did you mention from yesterday, or you want to get into before we get
Well,
to
I
the
mean,
games?
we have a massive conversation, which we're still waiting for more details about, but it's about Rozier. I mean, you got to at least talk about it.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I feel like until we know the details of the situation, I can't fully compare it to Jonte Porter. But of course, that's the first comparison we're going to think of because you see, I'd say these type of situations happen every couple months, I guess. But the point is, now you have an overreaction. I saw some people on ESPN talking about it, how sports books should get rid of unders for prop markets because that's how they can manipulate it. Look, if you want to help the sports books make money, just say that you're brought to you by ESPN Bet, and we can just move on with our lives. But you got to keep unders in there. I'm not going to let two NBA players out of hundreds, maybe even over 1,000 over the last year and a half, sabotage prop bets for everybody. That's insane. Yes, I understand that we need more details to come out about Rozier first. It happened in 2023. The point is, the Rozier situation's not good. We'll wait for more details about it. But either way, Rozier's also making a lot of money. So, I don't really know why he, of all people, would do it. I understand Jonte because he was a 10-day contract guy bouncing around. The Rozier involvement doesn't really make any sense because he's making millions and millions of dollars. So unless he has really awful, I say, financial awareness and he burned through all the money in the span of like a year, I don't know why he would do it of all people.
Yeah, I think that the NBA said they did their own investigation and didn't really find anything, but now it's, I guess, gone to like the federal level of we're dealing with Terry Rozier. So I think that when was it, the Heat play tomorrow, right? I believe if not Sunday. So if he's held out of the game, I think that
you play him while he's in the middle of like a federal investigation because he hasn't been charged with anything yet.
I don't think there would be a reason why to hold him out because he hasn't been charged for anything. And then, like I mentioned, that NBA did their own,
independent investigation or whatever.
And they didn't find anything. So I mean, until proven guilty or there's something to charge him with, I don't think it's right now, at least for as a conversation right now, unless the FBI or the federal level finds anything on him, then I think it'll turn into a bigger conversation. But as of right now, I guess we'll say nothing really for Terry Rozier.
I agree with Bear, though. I mean, I think that there
too.
are probably more people that have not been fully uncovered
100%.
yet in the situation. But once again, I just find it weird that Rozier, of all people, was involved. If you get a bunch of 10-day contract guys that have been G Leaguers who, get some promotion in the starting lineup and they're making the minimum, I can somewhat understand it. But I feel like when you're looking at his total earnings in his career, Terry Rozier, his current contract's for $96 million. He's making $23 million this year.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like at some point you'd assume once your salary's high enough, you'd be above the type of gambling ring connection.
Right.
But apparently not. Like, I don't really know why Rozier, a person making that much money, was involved. And that's the concerning part. I feel like, once again, if you're going to be looking at a bunch of 10-day guys who just signed the minimum, I know Isaiah Thomas gets called up for the 45th time in the NBA. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, some guys that bounce around the G League who know they're not going to be around long. That's similar to match fixing in tennis. You know you're not good enough to actually win all these matches to be a champion, so you're going to try to make as much money as possible, as quickly as possible. Rozier's made like $100 million, if not more. So I find it weird that he was involved. That's kind of my point.
Maybe Ian pointing out Jimmy made me do. I was like, Jimmy probably put something out there to get the attention away from him to focus on something else happening.
Shout out to Kevin Love, by the way, whose Instagram posts about the Butler situation, the Rozier situation, are top tier. If you're on Instagram, you should follow Kevin Love because the comedy is top tier. Recommend.
100%. All right, Scott, before we dive into the games here for tonight, just want to remind everybody, SGPN is running a free Squares pool for the Super Bowl. $1,000 goes to the winner. Take all for the final score square. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares to sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares. All right, let's get into it here for tonight. First game on the schedule will start here with the Dallas Mavericks. They are in Detroit to take on the Pistons. Mavericks currently laying a point on the road here with a total of 230. Injury report for the Dallas side of things. Of course, Luka continues to be out. Dante Exum has been upgraded to questionable for this game. And then their big men with Maxi Kleber, Derek Lively II, and Dwight Powell are all out for this game. For the Detroit Pistons side of things, Jaden Ivey, of course, we know. And then other than that, very healthy squad here for the Detroit Pistons. Mavs laying a point here in Detroit. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I feel like the Pistons are a team I've been kind of lower on than other guys on the podcast because Detroit, I faded against Indiana. Indiana was missing some players, and Nembhard didn't play, didn't matter, as they won the game comfortably. I think Detroit's fine. I mean, I've said this before. I think that Cade's the only guy on the entire team that can handle the ball in the starting lineup. So when you have one guy doing all of the offensive creation, you have problems because you have no depth. And you're looking at the Ivy injury, which they've been able to, cope with, but not exactly thrive with. It's a big deal because Ivy can create off the dribble. You have Hardaway, who we know is a spot-up three-point shooter. You have Asar Thompson, who I think we'd agree has basically no offensive talent at the stage in his career. He can't really shoot. You have Tobias Harris. Okay, you can live with that, I guess. And you got Duran, who is kind of a dunk guy who has no actual offensive, I'd say, skill moves at this point. Of course, you have Malik Beasley. You have a couple other guys who can shoot, but they're off the bench. They don't have really any other guys that can create off the dribble. And I feel like Dallas does. I mean, Dinwiddie's had a solid resurgence after he was really bad for the last year and a half. Kyrie's still Kyrie. PJ Washington's been good. Gafford's been solid. I know that kind of falls under the same boat as Duran. He doesn't really have much offensive talent, but if you give him the ball within 2 feet, he can make any shot, basically. And you have Clay, who's had a down year, had a monster game against the Wizards a couple games ago, but he can still shoot. I think Dallas is worthy of being favorites here. I get Detroit is once again a team that people are happy with because they were in the basement last year, another probably a play-in team. They still really rely on one guy to do everything offensively for this team, and that's not good enough for me. I think Dallas' supporting cast is better than Detroit's, and Kyrie, I do think, can create, of course, anything he wants off the dribble. So I'm going to go with Dallas here. I think Dallas is a team that's playing well. They're 12-12 on the road, so not too bad. Detroit, though, is 1 under at home, but I see Detroit once again keeping this game close. But I think Dallas is the deeper team, despite all the injuries after the front court. I'll go with Dallas -1.
Yeah, guys like, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford's been really, really good for this team as well in the absence of their bigs. And, of course, Luka. I just feel like the shooting is better around Dallas here as well. And like you mentioned, for this Pistons team, it's really a one-trick pony. So with Cade Cunningham and hoping that somebody else does show up for this team.
You got to put some respect, by the way. It's all-star Cade Cunningham.
All-star, yes, Cade Cunningham.
Good for you. Most improved. It's good for you.
So sitting on that ticket, so hopefully that he's able to stay healthy for the Pistons rest of the way. But I think this could be a big Jalen Duren game, possibly as from the rebounding front. I know Cade's been at least really good in the 2 games, and again, a very small sample against the Mavericks. But like you mentioned, it's just the depth is just going to be better and is better right now for this Mavericks team. So I'm comfortable taking the money line here or the -1. I think it should not be a significant difference there for the Mavericks here tonight. So give me the Mavericks -1 here. You have anything for the total, Scott? It has dropped a point now down to 229.
I think I'll go with the under, but I'm probably not going to bet it. I mean, I do want to touch upon what Thad said, where he was asking about Kyrie maybe being extra motivated because of the snub. It's a little bit weird when you factor that in because we know players to look for any edge in a regular season game when they actually want to play. So maybe Kyrie does come out firing, but in reality, do I think Kyrie was a snub? No. It's tough to call somebody a snub when you can argue that LaMelo and Trey deserved it more than him.
Yeah.
Can you be the third guard snub? Like, how many guards do you have? Like, you can make an argument that Kyrie, in his mind, got snubbed. Maybe that's all that matters. But do I think he deserves to be an all-star? No. Because if you want to make an argument for Trey and LaMelo, I think they would be above Kyrie on the snub list. Do we agree on that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that for sure.
I think it's also different, though, because that's Eastern Conference and Western Conference. So I guess it's a little different. But, I think Sabonis was a bigger snub than Kyrie, different positions, but still. I think Kyrie's been to so many All-Star games that maybe he is a little bit upset about it, but I don't know if he actually does care.
Yeah, I think that, if there's one player that it doesn't bother, I think it would be Kyrie. Bigger snub or more deserving, would it be Kyrie or Devin Booker?
I mean, I have to look at the stats. Let me quickly... It's tough to find a full comparison of stats here, but let me just see if I can find anything. I mean, it's really tricky because Luka's missed a lot of time. And if you want to make the argument that Kyrie has filled in, he's played well. 24.2 points per game. He's had a solid season in general. And he's had no drama attached to him, which has been a surprise. At least as a Nets fan, it's a surprise. He's kind of been on, I'd say, pretty consistent and drama-free footing with this team. But I don't want to compare actual performance. Booker's averaging about 2 more assists per game. He's averaging about 1 more point per game, but he's shooting 4% less from the floor.
Yeah.
So you have an argument either way.
All right.
I would probably go Booker, but I would not be mad at you if you took Kyrie over Booker. I wouldn't put Kyrie as an all-star personally, but if he's at the final cut conversation, that's where I'd have him. He'd be one of the last guys to get cut.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right, before we get to the next game on the schedule, let me just tell everyone about Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at sportsbooks, DFS sites, sweepstakes sites, racetrack, or the casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And you know your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. The best part is no credit checks and it's completely free. Sign up today. Use our promo code SGPN so you get better cash back rewards and instant tier 2 status. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Again, edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your favorite, it's your place to bet every sport, plus props for every game and a live dealer casino. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip that they'll throw in there for you as well. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right, Scott, let's keep it going here. Next game on the board, we got the LA Clippers. They are in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. Clippers laying 13 points in this game with a total of 209. Injury report for the LA Clippers, pretty clean. Only Chris Dunn is out here tonight for them. For the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball is out. Trey Mann, Cody Martin, Brandon Miller, and Mark Williams are all out. And probable tag on Josh Green. So it'll be the same lineup as it was in the last game that they did play here. But Clippers laying 13 on the road here. Scott, what are your thoughts on this one?
Clippers. You know how bad you have to be to lose to the Nets by 21 points? Like, I know that the Hornets were favored in that game, and I know that I did like the Nets in that game on principle because I just couldn't believe the Hornets were laying that as a G League team. But, I mean, this Hornets team's horrible. There's nothing really to talk about. This team has no talent at this point. Mark Williams is out too, so you're missing basically everyone besides Miles Bridges at this point, and good luck with that. I mean, the Clippers have been playing well. Harden's an all-star as well. Kawhi looked really good against San Antonio last game. Powell, you could argue, was a snub too if you want to add him to the Kyrie conversation, but he's had a great year too. Zubac's been great. They've been clicking on all cylinders. Like, I got nothing else to add. The Hornets, I think, are a really bad team, and I think that the Clippers are very solid. So, and they're fully healthy right now because Kawhi should play in this game. So I'll go with the Clippers. You lose by 20-plus points to the Nets. That's a red flag for me. I'll go with the Clippers.
Yeah. Not going to waste time here. I would just, going to lay it with the Clippers here, minus the 13. You mentioned it, that the Charlotte Hornets offensively have been
83 points in
against
2025.
The Nets. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Nets, look, I think defensively they've been pretty good, but
I'm just saying conceptually with the 3-point line and everything, 83 points in an NBA game? Come on.
Yeah. Well, Orlando did one better by only scoring 79 against Portland too.
That's true too. That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I'm not going to waste time here. Clippers minus the points here. I'm just going to lay it. You have anything for the total? I think Hornets team total under would be the look.
That's where I'm at. My concern is the Clippers can potentially score 120 in this game, so I'll go with the Hornets team total under. They play slower without LaMelo. They also can't shoot, so not a great combo there. I could see the Clippers win this game like 107-90. Like, that's a realistic outcome here. So I'll go with the under if I had to pick a full game total, hoping Charlotte drags it down, but give me the Hornets team total under instead.
All right. Next game on the board, we'll go with the Denver Nuggets. They are in Philly to take on the Sixers. Denver laying 9.5 points on the road with a total of 234. Injury report for the Denver side of things. They are healthy. Nobody really of significance on the injury report. For the Sixers, the usual guys are out. Paul George, Joel Embiid, Andre Drummond, Caleb Martin, KJ Martin are all out for this game tonight. Denver laying 9.5 points against the Philadelphia 76ers that don't look now, I believe, are on a winning streak. What are your thoughts on this one, Scott?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the Sixers in this one. I feel like Denver defensively has still been horrible over the last couple games. Denver has really not played well at all. I think I'm going to go with the Sixers because I think that they've played better. I think Maxi's a matchup problem, but it mostly comes back to Denver's defense, which has just handed out 120 to basically every team they've played for the last week and a half. So based on the lack of defense and based on Philly's recent form, I get the argument is the Nuggets are better on paper. We've seen this team really struggle to beat up on weaker teams all season long because they don't guard anybody, which definitely plays a factor. So I'm going to go with the Sixers plus the points. I think that it's a lot of points to be laying on the road for a team that once again has I'd say a defense optional approach. Philly's shown some pride lately. They've played better. I know that Paul George and Embiid are out again, but I think I'm going to go with the points. 9.5 feels like a lot for a team that is handing out a bunch of points to everybody. I don't mind Sixers team total over as well. But I'll go with the Sixers plus the points in this game.
Yeah, this is also a first leg of a back-to-back here for the Denver Nuggets. I mean, it's not much. They play Charlotte tomorrow, I believe. Let me double. Yeah, they're in Charlotte tomorrow. So, I mean, it's not looking at spot for them. But, coming off the loss against the New York Knicks there, this Sixers team I haven't been able to figure out all season long, but I will mention this, that the Denver Nuggets on a first leg of a back-to-back this season, both in the first half and full game, ATS are 2-7 against the number there. Max, he's been playing well. Another guy that got snubbed you can talk about for the All-Star team. The one guy that I think that's been consistent for the Sixers team, right, has been Maxey. He's been on a tear as of late here, so I would expect another big performance from him here tonight. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Sixers here. They have guys that are seizing the opportunity, I should say, with the guys that are out and playing hard, and then they're winning games, and it's been led by Maxey. And I think right now for this Denver Nuggets team, especially on the road where they just have not been very good, I think that this is an opportunity for the Sixers to continue rolling here. So I'm with you. Sixers plus the points here. Anything for the total, 234?
It's over or pass. I mean, Denver doesn't guard anybody.
Yeah, especially on the road. They're just really struggling defending anybody. I'm trying to find some numbers here, but Sixers as a home dog this season, 9-5 towards the over, 6-3 towards the over on the first leg of a back-to-back for Denver as well. So if you want to look at either first half over or full game over, couldn't talk you off of that. I think Jokic does have a big game here, though, bouncing back from having a
very played. I don't really know.
He got 2 fouls like in the first. I think it was like the first 2 minutes. He got 2 fouls against the Knicks, and he had to sit on the bench for the rest of the first quarter. In a game in games where he typically plays the entire first quarter.
Then he also missed like half the second quarter too. So
yeah,
Joker's minutes were just weird in that game.
So I think that this will be probably the bounce back game here for him tonight. I expect him to go out and put out a big performance. You got anything else for this game?
Not really. I think Joker has a triple-double, obviously. I think that the Nuggets might win the game, but I think that 9.5 is too many.
All right. Next game, I'd be curious to see, Scott, later on if you can find what the 1-10 for the Denver Nuggets would be in this game. But
I can probably find that now if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll get into the game here, then you can, once you have it, just let me know. We got the Chicago Bulls. They are in Toronto to take on the Raptors. Raptors laying 4 points here on the road. At home are the Raptors, I should say, laying 4 points with a total of 232.5. Injury report for the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine is going to be out. He's going to miss this game and the next one at minimum, dealing with some personal reasons. THT is questionable for this game. Torrey Craig is also out for this game. For the Raptors side of things, a lot of questionable tags. The main ones will be Grady Dick, Kelly Olynyk, Emmanuel Quickley, and Jamal Shed. So keep an eye out for the Toronto Raptors injury report in this game. But Raptors laying 4 points here, Scott, total of 232.5. And then if you did find the Nuggets 1-10.
Yeah, 1-10 is plus 185.
Okay.
So that you can take. For this game, give me Toronto. I've been backing them constantly over the last couple weeks on the show, and I think I've won every time. I like this team. I feel like I've pulled a complete 180 with this roster because they've actually been winning games. And believe it or not, last 10 games, Toronto's third in defense, they've been fantastic defensively.
Yeah.
I feel like Toronto's pretty good. Like they've won, I think it's 6 of 7 at this point. The Bulls have been a team that has been slumping. They're 2-8 in their last 10. LaVine is still out. I like what Toronto's done. I feel like they could have rolled over. You figured they were going to potentially tank. They still might. But it seems like once, Barnes came back and they still have Barrett, quickly, though, getting a questionable tag is actually an upgrade because he has been missing the last 8 games. Toronto's been good. I got nothing else to say. I mean, the Bulls have lost, I believe it's 5 of their last 6 road games, all 5 losses by 11-plus points. They've been really bad on the road. They have a really weird lineup now because they have no Craig and no Levine. So last game against the Celtics, they used 4 guards and Vucevic, and that went really terribly. So I'm going to go with the Raptors here. They've played well. I like them defensively, and I think that Barnes and company have looked good together. So I'll go with Toronto. They've also been really good at home. 11 of their 15 wins this season have been at home. Give me Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto has been the play if you're betting on them, and like Scott said, at home. This is only the 5th game where they are favored. They're 2-2 ATS against that number, but I think that, again, I expect at least 2 of the 4, if not 3 of the 4 guys to play here tonight. But even if they don't, I mean, like you mentioned, with Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett playing well, Jakob Poeltl has been really good for them. Guys coming off the bench. I know Davion Mitchell got inserted into that starting lineup as well. He's been racking up the assist for this Raptors team. And, missing your top scorer in Zach LaVine, Kobe White has been in and out of the lineup for this Bulls team, dealing with those nagging injuries. On the road this season, when it does come to totals, at least. So I'm with Raptors -4. Bulls on the road this season, 10-7-1 towards the over as an away underdog. And opponents' team totals going over in 11 of those 18 games. So I'm not sure if Bulls will be able to contribute to the over
that's
here.
That's my concern. I'd rather take Toronto team total.
Raptors team total over. So that's what I'll be looking at. Adam mentioning quickly, should be back here tonight. Levine is going to miss tonight in the next game. That's what Coach Donovan came out and said after their previous game where where Levine did play. You have anything else for the total, Scott?
Not really. Maybe Bulls team total under, just because Toronto's been that good defensively. Once again, 3rd in the league in the last 10 games. I know 10 games you could argue is like not the biggest sample size, but that's still pretty good.
I think at this juncture of the season that's when I start using like last 5, last 10 more than season long stats, because it just kind of gives you more of a gauge.
Yeah, I believe Toronto opened up at 2.5 and they are now at 4. So the money's coming on Toronto. I agree with it. And quickly coming back will help them out offensively. So I'll go with the Raptors.
Yeah, love it. All right, next game on the board. We'll go with the Boston Celtics. They are in New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Boston laying 11 points in this game with a total of 233. Looking at the injury report here for the Boston side of things, Sam Hauser is questionable and Al Horford is probable. Outside of that, everybody is a go. For the Pelicans, DeJounte Murray is probable. Daniel Tice is doubtful. And then we have the usual suspects of Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones that are out. And also, I should mention, Jordan Hawkins is questionable here tonight. He's dealing with an illness. Boston laying 11 on the road here, Scott. We've seen this story before, but what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, give me the over. I might be at the point in the season where I'm just going to blindly take every Pelicans game over. They don't guard anybody. They don't even try to guard anybody. Like, it is a mess. The game against Dallas, I think, got into the 250s. They weren't close to stopping anyone. They have no centers that are worth a damn. I know Misty's an interesting rookie. He needs to gain about 20 pounds. Like, he can't stop anybody that has some size. Ponito Porzingis had a great game last time out against Chicago. Maybe he'll have a great game, too. The Pelicans don't guard anyone. Like, Boston really might score 130 in this game, and that would not surprise me at all. Boston, they mess around a lot, so covering's an issue, but the Pelicans have been so bad all year. Just give me the over. I'd rather not bet on the side, hoping Boston shows up on both sides of the ball on the road for 48 minutes, but I don't really want to put money on New Orleans either at this point. Just give me the over. Give me some type of track meet.
Yeah, New Orleans, 5th worst defensive rated team over the last 10 games. They just matched up, I want to say, was it last week? It was a 121-19 victory for the Boston Celtics at home. It's just, again, the fact that we don't trust the Boston Celtics as a double-digit road favorite. And look, this could be a spot where they blow the doors off of the New Orleans Pelicans. But they just, again, they play with their food a lot. We've talked about this over the past several seasons with the Celtics. I'm with you, Scott. It would be Boston team total over for me. Just take a look what they've given up. 137 to Dallas, 113 to Toronto, 120. You gave up 123 points to the Charlotte Hornets. And yes, that probably was with some of their guys out there, but 139 to Memphis, 119 to the Jazz, 123 to the Jazz again, 116. So you're right that this team is not playing any defense. So Boston team total over would be the look here for me. I'll mention this when I was looking at my player props for today. I believe Porzingis has had at least double-digit rebounds against his Pelicans team, and I think it's like 4 or 5 straight games here. I just had in front of me here. Let me see. Yeah, so 4 straight games he's had double-digit rebounds, and then the game they played on January 12th, in that game he had 19 points and 11 rebounds. I think his number for his rebounding prop was at 7.5. He's done that in 5 straight head-to-head meetings. The only concern you do have is getting number 1 blowout, and if he does play enough minutes here tonight, but I still feel like that number was a little bit low for Porzingis in this game. You got anything else for Celtics Pelicans?
Not really. I think Tatum could have a monster game. I don't know if he's going to be flirting the triple-double or not, but I think that he could have a really good game. But yeah, it just seems like, once again, whatever you want to get offensively, you can get against this Pelicans defense. So I'll go back to the over.
Yeah, I think those guys that penetrate to the basket, the Jaylen Browns, the Jason Tatums, I think they can have a big game. Tatum in that last game on January 12th against the Pelicans, 38 points, 11 rebounds. He's also had at least 9 rebounds in 4 straight matchups, and then double-digit rebounds in 3 out of the 4 matchups. He had double-digit rebounds against the Pelicans. All right. Before we get over to the next game on the schedule here, let me tell everyone about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. Underdog is always making it easier with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered backed sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build the model for you. It's right now the perfect time to capitalize on Rhythm's subscription and cash in on awesome matchups we have this week. Rhythm's data-backed predictions account for recent player performance, injuries, and player and team trends to ensure that you have everything you need to know when placing your bets. NFL picks, NFL props, college basketball, NBA. Rhythm has it all. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All righty, let's keep it rolling here. Next game we'll get to is the Milwaukee Bucks. They are visiting the San Antonio Spurs in this game. Bucks are a 3-point favorite with a total of 235.5. Injury report, start here with the Bucks. Giannis is probable for this game. AJ Green is questionable. Chris Middleton is probable, and I did see Damian Lillard got upgraded to probable for this game. Bobby Portis will be out. He's dealing with some personal reasons. And then for the San Antonio Spurs, pretty clean injury report. Everybody is a go for them in this matchup. Bucks laying 3 on the road here, Scott, against the Spurs. What are your thoughts?
So I think the Bucks are going to win because I've said many times before, I don't think the Spurs are good. I think they have one guy, and that's kind of resulted in the odds makers overrating them all season long. However, I do think that Giannis and Wemby are going to have a fun matchup. We saw that happen last year. For this one, I think I actually am going to go with a bit of a hotter take for plus money. Give me Spurs first half, Bucks full game. I think that's a pretty interesting way to get some, say, serious plus money here. I think San Antonio with Wemby might show up and kind of punch Milwaukee in the mouth early on. But I do think as the game goes on, you will see Milwaukee eventually just separate themselves. The Spurs have not been a great crunch time team this season, mainly because they don't really have anybody that you trust to create shots late in games. So I'll go with Milwaukee once again to slump early on the road, then eventually figure it out. So give me the Spurs halftime, Bucks full time at like plus 500, plus 550, something like that.
All right. I feel like this is the fishiest line of the day that the Bucks
That's kind of why I'm like leaning into it, but not fully.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only a 3-point spread here. I mean, I like the Bucks side here. They're playing good basketball. Their guys are healthy. They matched up in Milwaukee earlier in the month of January. Bucks won that game 121-105. They limited Wemby in that game to 10 points and 10 rebounds. No player outside of Keldon Johnson scored 20 more or 20 or I should say, 20 or more points. Giannis had a big game, 25 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists. Dame, 26 points, 8 assists as well. Spurs, I will say, they are allowing the most assists to point guards over the last 2 weeks of the regular season. So I do like Dame assists here tonight. So I like the over in this game, either a Bucks team total over, but I don't know. This number does feel short, but I'll fall for the trap here if it is one. Bucks -3 here. I do like Giannis rebounds here. It's at 13.5, but this guy has dominated the Spurs on the offensive front and rebounding wise. So a couple props here I do like there, Scott. Dame over on his assists, and then Giannis if you want to go points and rebounds over or just his rebounds alone. Anything else you like for this game?
I don't mind Dame double-double. As assists have gone up a lot lately. You mentioned before the Spurs give up a ton of assists to opposing point guards, but I mean, you mentioned Giannis having big numbers against Wemby. That is kind of a common theme. As good of a defender as Wemby is, Joker, Embiid, and Giannis have absolutely killed him throughout his entire career. So I think that Giannis might have another 30 and 15 type game. So I don't mind that too. I saw somebody mention before Giannis triple-double. Maybe, but I feel like Lillard might end up with like 11 assists or so. It seems like the offense is starting to pivot more to Lillard being a facilitator.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put the word playmaker out there. So I think that they're going to set up a lot of good opportunities for Lillard to get double-digit assists. I prefer that angle personally.
Yeah, 2 matchups against Wemby in his career for Giannis, of course. 44 points and 14 rebounds. And then the matchup, like I mentioned earlier this season against the Spurs and Wemby, 25 points and 16 rebounds in that game. So if you want to go like a PR over, or if we just want to take the rebounds or points, I think this could be another big Giannis game against Wemby. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game we'll get to, we've got I believe this is the last game of the night. The Phoenix Suns, they are, let me double check. Yeah, it is. Phoenix Suns are in the Bay Area to take on the Warriors. Suns laying 1.5 in this game with a total of 228. Injury report. Let me get back to that page. Sorry. Phoenix, clean injury report. Nobody's really on there as far as injuries goes. And then for the Golden State Warriors, Draymond and both Jonathan Kuminga are going to be out for this game. Kevon Looney is listed as available to play for the Golden State Warriors. Warriors probably coming off their biggest win of the season against the Thunder in their last matchup in a game where SGA dropped 50-plus points, but just wasn't enough. Warriors come back, get the victory as an 11-point dog here, but they're right back at it against Phoenix Suns. Pretty close spread here. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think this might be potentially the biggest trap line of the night because you mentioned San Antonio. Yes, the record is a lot worse than Milwaukee's, but the Warriors, besides that one win against the Thunder, have really not looked great with their injuries. They've been better lately. I believe they've won 3 of their last 4. But the Suns have been fine. Yes, they lost to Minnesota. Minnesota kind of owns them. I mean, not even kind of. They swept them in the playoffs last year. They won this last meeting by, once again, a decent margin there.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that the line is so close based on how healthy the Suns are compared to the Warriors. But I think Golden State finds a way in this game. I'll take Golden State. I think it'll be very close, though. But I think you're looking at what should be a game that comes down to the wire. You know what? I'll pick Golden State at home. Well, it's not a strong opinion, but I do think the line looks very trappy. I think Golden State was actually favored last night and flipped to Suns -1.5. I think this is the fish juice line to me, and Amanda agrees. But I think this is the matchup where everyone's going to be on the Suns. I'm not going to do it. I'll actually go Warriors. I'm probably not going to bet it, but I'll go with the Warriors if I had to pick.
Yeah, so this is the first game of a back-to-back for the Phoenix Suns. They go to Portland tomorrow, so not really a look-ahead spot. I think the situation for the Warriors is that this is their 3rd game in 4 nights. I don't know, man. It just makes me nervous that even with the Warriors down the stretch, I think they've been better as of late, that they were able to close out that game against the Thunder. I don't know, gun to my head, I'd go Golden State, but I don't love it. I think it'll be a fun matchup to
There's
watch
no
for
chance I
sure.
bet this game. I hate both teams.
Yeah. But as far as the show goes, I think that the Warriors may be the right side here. I think, you mentioned Amanda's agreeing with you as well. Warriors I think this could be a game first half full game, like Suns first half full game Warriors, because the Warriors in the first half as a home dog this season straight up are just 1-7 in those spots, and they're 1-7 ATS, but they end up being 4-4 against the number as a home dog here. So that's probably where I would be at. Phoenix also first leg of a back-to-back, 3-5 against the number, and then the second leg of a back-to-back. So keep this in mind for. I'm sorry. Well, let me go back. So first leg of a back-to-back, 4-4 ATS, and then on the next night they're just 2-5-1 ATS. But yeah, I would look at the Warriors side. I do like Devin Booker in this game. He's had a lot of success scoring wise, at least against the Golden State Warriors. He's had, let's see here, 34, 27, 32, 32, 25, 32, 32, 27. So 27 or more points in 8 of the last 9 head-to-head meetings against the Warriors. So I see his point prop at 26.5. I think this could be a nice Devin Booker game. Obviously, you have the narrative, Scott, of Kevin Durant, back in the Bay Area there. But anything else you got for this game?
No, not really. Once again, I just think it'll be an interesting game that comes down to the wire. I think I probably would consider the under in this game, just expecting a little bit of a rock fight there in what should be a competitive fourth quarter. But I'm not going to bet anything in this game. I think there are better games on the card.
All right. So that is the last game of the Friday card. 2 orders of business. That'll be our lock and dog. And then we'll put together our Underdog Fantasy entry for the Friday card as well. Scott, you want to lead us off with your lock and dog?
Sure. So for the lock on the show, I think for this one, the question is, I want to go with an alt total or do I want to go with the regular total here? I see Bulls are actually down to 3.5 if I want to take that. All right. You know what? I think I am going to go for it. I'm going to go with the Celtics and Pelicans over. 232.5 is my lock. New Orleans isn't guarding anybody at this point, and I feel like Boston can get whatever they want offensively. New Orleans, though, we just saw them face off against this team. Game got into the 240s. I think this total's too low. I'll give me the over in the Celtics and Pelicans game as my lock. For my dog, I am going to go with another total, but I am going to go with an alt line for this matchup. I'm going to go back to the Nuggets and Sixers game. Total's around 234. For my actual total in this game, I think I am going to bump that up to about 239.5. It's at plus 146. I see a bunch of points. Denver's not guarding anybody. I don't think anybody on Philly can guard Joker. I think each team has a chance to even get to 120. But Denver, if they drop 130, would not shock me either. Give me the over 239.5 in the Sixers game as my dog at plus 146.
All right. For my lock, I think I'm just gonna lay it with the Clippers, man. Minus 13. Look, this Hornets team, they're offensively, they just can't.
You can argue with all the people out there the worst team in the league.
Yeah. And Clippers, I love the way they're playing basketball right now. Like, they're playing great defense. Offensively, they've been very efficient. And for the Charlotte Hornets team, it's that, again, they just can't put points together and make baskets with all the guys that are out. Clippers are number 1 rated defense over the last 10 games. They also have the best net rating in that span by 0.2 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think that they get the job done here. I'll lay the wood here on the road, minus 13 against the Charlotte Hornets. For my dog, I think what I was going to do is just take a rebounding prop parlay with Giannis and Jokic. So, Jokic over 13.5 rebounds and Giannis over 12.5 rebounds. Right now on DraftKings, if you parlay those two together, you'll get plus 266. I think Jokic walks into 15 plus here tonight We saw Sabonis the other night had I think like 18 rebounds against the.
He might have gotten to 20. I don't remember, but he had a ton.
Yeah. So I think that, again, Jokic, after not playing very many minutes against the Knicks in the previous game, getting into foul trouble early, I think that he comes out and posts another big triple-double here. And then I want to say, let me go back, because Jokic, I think they did match up earlier this month, I should say, in Denver. And in that game, he had a monster triple-double. Well, not a monster, but he had 27, 13, and 10. But again, I just think that it'll be a big game here for Jokic. And then Giannis, I mentioned the numbers. I'm going to regurgitate it again. Over 12.5 rebounds. So to recap, 2-pick rebounding player prop parlay with Jokic over 13.5 rebounds, and then Giannis over 12.5 rebounds on DraftKings. That'll get you to plus 266. All right, Scott, let's put together our Underdog Fantasy entry here for tonight. Again, get over there, underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you guys use our promo code NBA SGPN. You'll get a first-time deposit offer of 50% up to $1,000. They also throw in a gimme pick for you as well to get you started. And they always have all these profit boosts and things like that, which is really, really fun as well. So, yeah, come join the fun. All right. Where do we want to start here?
Well, I mean, I got two on the top of my head. We can go Joker, higher triple-double. Simple enough, right? I mean,
yeah.
You might get there in 3 quarters. So,
yeah.
I don't know what the juice will be on that, but I don't mind Joker like triple-double. And Dame assists, I want the higher on.
So the triple-double on DraftKings at 0.75x.
Okay.
The rebounding and assist is at 23.5 at the regular 1x.
You have a choice. You want to just do rebounds, actually?
I mean, if he just gets a triple-double, I think that he's going to walk into 15 and 12 here tonight. But the rebounds...
That's fine. Yeah, we could just do the RA. That's fine.
All right, we'll go with that. And then I like the Dame assist with you as well. I've already played that. That number is at 7.5.
I think that's too low.
Yeah, I think he gets at least minimum at 8, if not 10. Like I mentioned, Spurs are allowing the most assists to point guards as well.
I thought about Tatum rebounds. My problem is if Boston blows him out, I just don't know if he's going to play the fourth. But I mean, you said Tatum's at double-digit rebounds. I think in 3 of the last 4 against New Orleans. Pelicans can't rebound. So, do you want to go Tatum rebounds or no?
I have Tatum. I had his points and rebounds listed at 33.5 for myself. But if you just want to go the rebounds, I'm good.
No, we can do that. That's fine.
You want to do points and rebounds?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So there it is. I like this tonight. All right, so just to recap, we're going to go Jokic, rebounds and assists, higher 23.5. We'll go Damian Lillard, higher 7.5 assist, and then we'll go Jason Tatum, points and rebounds, higher 33.5. That gets you to 6.66x on Underdog Fantasy. So every $10 that you do put in, all 3 of those are correct. You'll get a return of $66.60, courtesy of Underdog Fantasy. All right, that is going to wrap it up here for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast. Scott, anything else we want to mention before we get out of here?
No, not really. Once again, should be an interesting card, hopefully better than yesterday. But either way, should be a fun weekend, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll be back next week, of course, for the month of February, which means All-Star Weekend coming up, and then, of course, the trade deadline. So we'll start seeing more and more names pop up as far as trade rumors and things like that. And, of course, we'll continue handicapping every single game as we always do here on the NBA Gambling Podcast. Appreciate everybody in the chat as usual, the usual suspects. If you guys can do us a favor, just hit that like button on your way out. If you haven't already subscribed to the NBA Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, please go in and do so. We're ever so closer to 3,500 subscribers for the NBA Gambling Podcast. We're on the march for 5,000 by the time the NBA Finals do wrap up, so we can only get there with the help of you guys. Make sure you guys follow Scott over on Twitter at Reichel Radio. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. And come join the Discord as well. I know a lot of great handicappers in the NBA channel. I'm sure in the tennis channel there as well. So it's a lot of fun chopping it up and seeing everybody's plays, and honestly a lot of ball busting as well in a fun manner. All right. Enjoy the games this weekend. And always remember to let it ride.